We are live with our newest edition of Strange News. Turn the music a bit. The only news show where mythical creatures share news of the deep weird in your world. Our quest is to uncover the deepest, weirdest news stories, and today is all about gnomes. All about garden gnomes. I am Wistmore, the archdruid of this grove within the Wild Dream, and joining me is the foxy witch, Wisteria.
Hi. Hi.
Yeah, I did a little tripping on the way in.
You got your toes stuck in the portal?
Yeah, the little baby dragon was in between my feet.
Between your toes.
Yep. So, I'm curious, do you have any garden gnomes in your area?
Like physical ones or just...
Yeah, the real things.
Yeah, we really have like very few gardens that are fancy and that they look pretty. They're mostly functional and they have a fence, like a living fence. So you don't really see in them. But there are a few places where people really put some effort into them, and we do have some gnomes, but they're of the pretty creepy variety.
As it should be in Romania.
Yeah. I can provide some pictures. We have this really popular Instagram page where it's like the alternative of memes, and people there post building entrance pictures from their building or some sort of like relatives building or something, where people have done crazy stuff either on the staircase, in front of their apartment, or in front of their building. And it's just memes with no context. You look in there, you see the chaos, and it's amazing.
So, are they vampire garden gnomes? Are they werewolf
uh
garden gnomes? Or
no,
they're just
not really.
like bundles of twigs with gnome hats?
They are old plushies that've been sitting in the rain, put into half broken ceramic garden gnomes, and they're like a DIY hybrid of some sort of creature.
Wow. Yeah, I'm sad to say I have never seen a garden gnome here.
No?
Yeah.
Dare I say no?
No gnomes.
Okay. But would you like to see one?
Well, maybe I should get my own. And that is a good segue. Why do people even have garden gnomes?
To scare away the crows.
You think?
Maybe.
Uh, let's see if we have a reputable source here.
And we're not reputable enough.
No, foxes are never reputable.
Understandable.
Do garden gnome statues symbolize good luck? This is from Garden Gate, a gardening magazine.
There are such things as gardening magazine.
Yeah, I think they've all gone digital online rather than real magazines these days.
These kind of magazines and the fishing ones are something that still baffles me to this day.
Kind of like garden gnomes, just
Yeah.
mostly among the older generation.
But haven't you thought about the idea that people just have garden gnomes because they go to the gardening store and they want to find something to put in their yards, and I guess little people with pointy hats is the easiest thing they can think of.
Could be some of
Like,
that
what
happening.
else can you manufacture as a ceramic that you would put in a garden? Like, let's say the ceramic industry is just starting out right now. Is the ripe year of I don't know, 200 BC something when it started. I have no idea. But you are a business owner and you want to manufacture some garden decorations. What will you go for in terms of design to not be creepy?
I actually have seen some like fairies on mushroom ceramics in gardens around here.
Hmm.
And then we have like the flamingos that are kind of like windmills, so like their wings spin in the wind.
Truly have no idea from where this flamingo idea popped up, because it's not like you see flamingos walking through the gardens of like a suburb and you're like, yeah, we should put like a ceramic flamingo in here.
We did have that big white crane.
Yeah, so a person that has trouble seeing color would say that's a flamingo.
Okay, this says garden gnome statues have kept a solid reputation for bringing good luck and serving as good luck charms. They are also thought to bring protection. Uh, I was just assuming that it would be to like bring better growth to people's gardens. But maybe that's what the fairies are for. Garden gnomes are just protectors.
Do we have gnomes in Westmore Grove?
Who knows who's become lost, but I don't think they're native here. So according to folklore, they are supposed to help around the garden house and keep an eye on garden produce, animals, livestock, and crops in rural areas where they lived and the rafters of barns. Farmers believed that these whimsical characters with some magical abilities could help their fields yield more produce. Okay, so at one time they did do that. Protect them from pests and keep thieves away. That's a lot to do. At night, they were also thought to be helpful gardeners. In German fairy tales, these earth dwellers were often described as old men who guarded buried treasure and minerals in the ground. So I guess that's kind of where the idea of leprechauns come in.
Hmm.
Yeah, so we're doing a bit of setting the scene here. What are garden gnomes? What are they used for? And then we're going to get into the gnome abductions.
So the gnomes were abducted, or a band of gnomes are abducting people?
The gnomes themselves are being abducted.
I can tell you a cute, fun story. When I was little, there was this really popular cartoon here. It was like a French cartoon, and it was called What's Up with Andy. And Andy was this kid that was a prankster, and he wanted to prank the entire town. And around August, where everyone would go to the beach and the whole city would just become a ghost city because no one was in town, he started replacing people in their homes and in their gardens, just doing daily things with gnomes. And the entire city became like a gnome city. And that got so many ideas into my head that I wanted to
Wow.
have like a full garden of gnomes. That was a really wild episode, and you don't really need to show that to a 5-year-old kid because their mind starts going.
Well, we actually have a little bit of that today, too. Gnome communes.
I thought you were about to say gnome communism.
Nope, I stopped at the commune. All right, so we have somebody who's going to tell us a little bit about garden gnomes, too.
They're not elves, they're not dwarves, they're their own little race of little people.
Okay.
And the gnome actually in German means earth dweller. So they live underground and they are considered to be.
Here's that southern accent you like.
Wow, she has a lovely accent. I was about to say so. I want to learn that. I don't even know where to start.
You just need more exposure.
Is it offensive if I do it?
No? It'll probably sound funny, but I'd love to hear it.
A southern Romanian vampire?
Yeah.
But what's the key characteristic of this accent? Because for British people, they have like a way of pronouncing everything, like they have a chronic lisp.
I think it's called like a drawl,
Mm-hmm.
or they like add in sounds and draw out words.
Okay.
So see if you can pick up on that as we listen to.
Good luck if you don't mess with their treasure, because they're also keepers of treasure, particularly gold.
Yeah, I was going to ask what kind of treasure.
Underground,
Okay.
yeah.
Gold.
Underground.
Yeah, there you go.
And you wonder, well, how did they get into the garden deal? What's the deal with putting them in your garden? Well, there's also some legends that say, since they are earth dwellers, they're all about the earth and plant processes. So they're good luck to have in a garden, because actually, you know, they don't like light. They don't like light. Actually, if they come out of ground, which obviously this one did, in daylight, they turn to stone.
Oh.
Yeah,
So it's kind of
It's a mini troll.
yeah, they also talk with a like a sound. I don't know how to describe it. So many of us did.
Oh no, I don't think that's. I think that's just the old lady in her.
Oh, okay.
cruel to have all these little stone captured gnomes in your garden. And actually, there's a gnome liberation front. Seriously, I know it's crazy. And
Seriously, it's like a terrorist organization.
Do you believe in a gnome mafia?
I haven't heard about it, but I would believe in it.
Would you be into it?
I would.
Bring some peace in huge cities.
I'd be interested in learning more before I commit.
Okay.
and especially in France and England, which apparently take their gardening really seriously. So, yeah, it's kind of...
Yeah, the Brits really do take their gardening seriously.
What did they do differently other than do their plants?
Well, I think it's kind of where Americans get the idea of having a perfect lawn. The Brits really have like gardens that they show off to the neighbors, and they keep it well done. I spent a lot of time with the older generation in the UK, so I don't really know if it's a thing among younger generations, but I do know that the retirees there are very, very serious about their gardens, and everybody does it. Like, I didn't meet a single retiree who wasn't into gardens.
Compared to our gardens, which look extremely different because we always have fences around our property, therefore you can't really see in our garden, and we are not into the idea of having a lawn.
But yeah, these are really show-offy in the front. They'll have some backyard gardens too, and greenhouses, but yeah, it's definitely for show.
a fun thing. But anyway, that's sort of the legend that, you know, when they come out of their ground and they get in the daylight, they turn to stone. But people like to put them in their gardens because they do. At night, they become real again,
right.
and they take care of your garden. And they got, there's a, what started it actually, the little statues and things, was in Germany. And let me see if I can remember the guy's name. Let me see if I can find it here. But he started the first terracotta statues of the gnomes way back in 1800s, way back. And so they were terracotta.
Yeah, so we've got quite a history of garden gnomes. Hundreds of years old now.
And he painted them, and you know, they were just the little men folk, okay? You ever wonder about female gnomes while you never see them?
Yeah.
Huh? You ever wonder about that? Well, they're underground guarding that treasure. Yeah, they're too smart to come out in the daylight.
there with
'Cause
the
that's the
gold.
reason, yes, right. We're entirely too smart. And they are said to be mostly beardless. Some of the females do have beards, but and maybe that's the reason they don't come out. They're
Wow.
ashamed.
Well, if they did have beards, how would you tell them apart?
I think
Their
the
beard.
beard is the only feature that you can tell them apart by.
If it's big enough, maybe.
Oh.
I don't know. You really don't see a lot of female gnomes, and that's the reason.
haven't,
You
though,
know. Yeah. So anyway, this guy in Germany.
Or you see
kinda
them and you
built
don't
on
know they're females.
Yep.
the legends of the traditions of the gnome, which was very much a part of the mythology or whatever you want to call it of the country. So he built all these little terracotta statues, and that kind of started the process.
Okay, that's enough of a backstory for us. And let's see, where are we? Oh, here we go. Here is some more gnome. Here's our gnome commune I'm about to share.
A small question. You think it would be highly entertaining, at least for you, if I show up to the next family gathering with like a speech learned?
In Southern?
Mm-hmm.
That would be quite odd.
I'm trying my best to, fit in.
I think this is in Australia. So we'll see here.
Well, here we are, Gnomesville. This
Gnomesville in Australia.
place was rated
Wow.
number 3 out of the top 5 places to
Whoa, your mom's house.
Okay.
Yeah, this is definitely Australia.
visit when you're going on a road trip around Australia.
Here's Gnomesville. All different kinds of gnomes. This is a very Aussie gnome right here. The flip-flops,
has-
a beer.
It has a kilt
He does have a kilt and a mullet.
and a
Wow.
beer.
Wow. A kilt and a mullet. What a combination.
There's a dead bird right there.
So they've been doing their job. They protected Gnomesville from the deadly birds.
History behind this bizarre little world is a bit foggy. There was a bus crash about 20 to 30 years ago at this Y intersection, leading to the creation of a roundabout. As the construction happened, some bright spark thought it would be a good idea to place a garden gnome leaning on a shovel to watch the construction as it happened. What an epic prank! What a bloody larrikin! Actually, how
So I think there's definitely a bit of mischief around owning these gnomes.
Mm-hmm.
So we've heard like their folklore beginnings, but I think modern day there is kind of a bit of whimsy involved with the ownership of gnomes and just around these happenings in general.
Can you place a gnome randomly somewhere in a public place and you would get away with it?
I'm sure.
Because there's no law saying not to.
Yeah, you could definitely do that.
How annoying is that? Like, I hate it when people watch me work and then someone put a permanent pair of eyes to watch the construction of this roundabout as it happened. It's a wonder that this didn't become a square about. Yep. Just gonna put myself into traffic for that one. Apparently Gnomesville is a great place to bring your kids. I feel like a few gnomes would disagree with that statement.
Let's see.
Looked up some garden gnome facts to learn a bit more about them for this video. All I learned is that garden gnomes can't drive and they don't speak Latin. I don't
All right, well that was useful. I just wanted to see more of the gnomes in Gnomesville.
I don't drive and I don't speak Latin either. What does that mean?
That means you're a gnome.
Unbelievable. Gnomesteria.
There you go. All right.
Gnome potion win.
Now we are going to talk a little bit about the Garden Gnome Liberation Front. Now that we've set the scene. And they even have their own Facebook page. Can you believe such an extremist radical organization movement is able to maintain a Facebook page?
As all serious businesses would do. Who is managing this page?
There's actually a number of these around the world in various countries. The Garden Gnome Liberation Front actually has been around as an official entity since 1996. And it started in France. I have some notes from my research here. Since the official start of the Garden Gnome Liberation Front in France in 96, hundreds of gnomes were relocated or stolen. And actually, it became such a big phenomenon that in 97, the police actually apprehended the French ringleaders, and they were caught with Garden Gnome Liberation Front pamphlets and stolen gnomes. But the movement continued on even with their ringleaders apprehended. I got some information here. I think, yeah, I don't know if this is an official site. It doesn't look so good on stream because I think it's cut off. Yeah.
It looks like a mock-up version of Wikipedia. That is Wikipedia, right?
No. It has, no, it's csmcgill.ca, so it's Canadian.
Oh, that's why it looks weird.
The Garden Gnome Liberation Front are an international organization that stand for the liberation of garden gnomes. These so-called liberation groups, which can be seen as cults or simply groups of practical jokers, attempt to rid the world of unjust imprisonment of gnomes. They are often cited for illegal conduct, including theft and trespassing. Yeah, so it started off as a French organization. There's also a Italian version, which is MALAG, Movimento Autonomo per la Liberazione della Anime de Giordano. And they are actually a more violent version of the group, because they will release the gnome spirits by smashing the ceramics.
Oh, wow.
So let's see. I got a news story to share about this Gnome Liberation Front. So it's been going on for quite a while.
And to attend this Boulder front yard, missing something that for years has called the garden home.
Check out this picture here. This little guy went missing.
So this is obviously here in the States.
This weekend.
And this is Boulder, Colorado.
Yeah, he is the latest victim in what 7 News reporter Molly Hendrickson found to be an organized and growing group of gnome nappers.
Here, but go out.
So gnome abductees. Let's hear their story.
Fast, for I am gone, free at last.
Around here, the Smiths are known for their love of magic.
My husband's a very magical person, and he loves to collect things that have kind of magical qualities, so we have a lot in the house as well.
But even Christine is stumped
Many a snowstorm endured,
by this latest disappearing act.
but not a thought you gave while guarding your yard. It's funny, but also a little, it's a little eerie.
So I think somebody left a note with the theft, which isn't uncommon.
Is it for ransom?
No, there haven't really been any reported ransoms. It's mostly theft or vandalization.
To think people just come and take something out of your yard.
On Saturday, they received an email. They were the latest gnome napping victims. The Gnome Liberation Front, it said, was behind the whole heist.
Did someone write us today and said Gnome Land Security? That's a good one.
With all the recent snow, the Smiths didn't even notice their gnome was missing. That is until Saturday when they got those emails with that picture and that now infamous poem.
And they said that they had renamed him Elvis and that we didn't have respect for him, and because we had never named him. So I don't think we're ever going to see him again. That's my sense.
It looks like she's actually enjoying the story. Like, she's part of the story and she enjoys being part of the story.
Wouldn't you enjoy to be part of the story?
Not if it was like a really treasured gnome in my garden.
That you don't even know his name was Elvis.
Yeah. I don't know. But yeah, I like to purchase. If I'm going to buy anything, it's going to be something I like, so I wouldn't want it to be stolen.
Like those stone gargoyles from the antique store.
Yeah. Those aren't cheap either.
I know, but those are really heavy, so your teeth would be like buff.
You know, maybe people should get gargoyles to protect their garden gnomes.
And who will protect the gargoyles?
Tuna.
Yeah, with the scissors.
Yeah.
It turns out they weren't a gnome. The group goes around freeing gnomes from garden captivity, one gnome at a time.
For a slave no more, my freedom granted. Go to the yard, I am no more.
The Smiths are pretty sure their gnome is forever lost in no man's land. They just hope the others don't follow.
She's trying to fit in as many gnome puns as she can.
Thanks,
This is
Eric,
my
for
kind
the
of
Gnome Liberation Front.
yes.
In Boulder, Molly Hendrickson, 7 News.
And to attend this
Oh.
Boulder Front.
There we go. Alright, we got another video here about
Do you know what I'm doing right now?
What's that?
I am looking for those pictures that have gnomes in them that are Romanian, that are super cursed.
Oh yeah, I'd love to see those.
Okay.
This is the Great Yard Gnome Liberation of 1999.
And finally tonight, an urgent appeal for homes for gnomes.
Is this Alabama?
The Ontario Hydro had reported their yard had
Alabama.
been broken into, and all the gnomes have been found in the trucks in various locations throughout the hydro yard. The investigation is still ongoing, but it brings up a couple of concerns. And first and foremost, of course, is the break-in over at the hydro yard. Secondly, however, would be the number of unreported thefts that we have within the town of Huntsville here of all the gnomes. We've only had 3 reports, and yet there's a lot of gnomes, as you can see here, that are looking to go back home.
So these are sequestered gnomes from local thefts. So I believe this is at a police station along with a jet ski.
Wait, I got live news from Mom.
Yeah.
She is saying, did you know that we also have little gnomes in our culture that protect the yard and the house? No, I didn't.
What are they called?
I don't know. Mom, how are they called? I know you're in the hallway. I don't know if you hear. I'll ask later.
All right, we'll wait for that update.
Okay.
See Chucky in there somewhere. 93 gnomes found in several hydro vehicles in a local compound over the weekend. Police are asking anyone who's had their gnome napped to give them a call.
Gnome napping.
Only in VR land.
We gotta throw
Gotta
that
like it. That's this edition of VR Land News. Anne-Marie has your next.
All right.
How is this gnome napping? When I asked if you kidnap like a cat, if it's catnapping, a trusted English teacher said no.
Yeah, that's a wholly different word. The shadowy world of the sinister Gnome Liberation Front. This is from The Mirror, UK. They're a shadowy group who creep around people's gardens. And when they'll strike next, nobody gnomes. Calling them creeps. These extremists have kidnapped thousands since. Oh, we do have some ransom notes. In one disturbing case, 11 hostages were found dead in a suspicious mass suicide. Wow, this is really dark. They are the Gnome Liberation Front, whose mission to free them from their small garden prisons. The Mirror revealed yesterday how Murphy, the gnome, was nabbed from Eve Stewart Kelso's garden in Gloucester, only to turn up safe and sound 7 months later with holiday snaps from 11 different countries. I think this is another phenomenon. This is closely related to garden gnomes. There have been a number of napped gnomes that will travel around the world and be photographed at different international landmarks and sent to their previous owner. And this is kind of one of the staple pranks around this movement. It started before the ubiquitous internet. This was like 99, 2000, where the media started reporting on the Gnome Liberation Front. And it's the media stories that made the movement sort of catch a blaze in people's mind. It was a prank that many people wanted to duplicate. And so there's numbers of different stories about the gnome traveling around the world with photographed at like the Eiffel Tower and different major landmarks.
How do you explain carrying a gnome in your carry-on at the security at the airport?
It's a gift.
Like, it's an emotional support gnome.
Yeah, so we have the story about the French in 97, the ringleaders being sentenced and fined for the theft of 150 garden gnomes. And this is something that makes me think it's young people playing pranks on older people, because it's usually the older generation that owns these. And it's also usually the younger folks that are gnome napping.
Wismar, look in chat. We have another gnome person.
Hey, DB. Good to see you.
Hello. Hi.
Been a bit busy, but good to see you guys. Good to see you too. Thanks for coming.
You've come in at the right time so that some gnomes can snatch you and send us a ransom note.
Yeah. So do you have any gnome napping stories of your own, DB? That's what we're exploring today.
You have gnomes around you? Would you like to have gnomes around you?
Uh-oh, we've got a sickening twist here. 11 gnomes were found strung up, hanging by their necks under a bridge in the city of Brie in 1998, with a note. This is somewhere in France. When you read these few words, we will no longer be part of your selfish world, where we serve merely as pretty decoration. Oh, we do actually have an older culprit. 53-year-old man arrested in Brittany after 170 of the little fellows were found in his garden. So he was hoarding them from others.
DB says lawn ornaments are a big market up here, and he loves gnomes. And at the Ren Fair, they are everywhere.
Oh,
Well,
wow.
what do you mean they are everywhere? They are the organizers of the Ren Fair. You know, I was deep down the rabbit hole for Ren Fair content, and there were people dressing up and everything you can do, and all the little merchants, and it was amazing. And I want to be there, and I've never been to a Ren festival.
There is one fairly close by in February that we should try to get to.
I'll be there in February.
Yeah.
Man, do you want to get dressed up too?
Yeah, actually,
As a
we're...
gnome?
Oh, speaking of, I have something about that. Professional gnomes. You're always teeing up such good segues.
It's amazing. Yeah, I just wanted to say that I could dress up as a gnome because I'm passing the height requirements. You not so much.
Yeah. I'll be a mutant gnome. Okay, here we go. These men are paid to be real garden gnomes.
I used to work in the city. The long hours, the high pressure. I was burnt out. Then a friend recommended gnoming. I tried it and I never looked back.
Why does this sound like the wholesome version of OnlyFans?
Oh no. I think this is actually satire. I don't think this is a real thing. But it's fun.
I wanted to look into it because Sparrow made fun of my height ever since we known each other in first grade. So I think this is like the profession for me.
Hey, yeah, maybe you can get some tips from this video.
Yeah, you look good.
Thank you. Where do you want me?
Right back.
Yikes. It already sounds creepy. DV could do some gnoming too.
I just find it so peaceful being outside in nature. It's so quiet.
600 pounds a day?
I meet nice people.
What?
The
Tree
payment.
stump or toadstool?
Oh. I missed it.
Right, it's earning more than a doctor.
All right, Mark.
Yeah, I do think it's satirical. You'd fit right in at the Ren Fair as a gnome or fairy. So maybe you can be a gnome and I'll try to find some other mythical creature to be.
I think whenever the Ren Fair is over and they need to move and pack up, they'll pack up everything with me and they'll take me.
Yeah, if you sit around there long enough.
Yep.
My wife died a couple of years ago and I was very lonely. And that's when I saw the cards in the phone.
He's got multiple professionals in his employ.
Serious business.
Box. Well, I dialed the number. Before I knew it, there was a bearded man with a pointy hat and a fishing rod sat in my front garden. I wasn't even sure I was going to be into that sort of thing, but I was. Now I'm probably spending
into it.
$2,000 a week on them.
There you go. $2,000 a week on them.
DB says, I know a lot of Rennies. I got you. You mean grannies?
Rennies, Ren Fairers.
Oh, okay.
They're just so nice to have around.
I was looking for a bit of extra cash, so I thought I'd try gnoming for a couple of years. I'm still here. I'd be lying if I said it didn't put strain on our marriage.
He said he'd quit. Yet here we are. The kids don't know what their father does.
The kids are too young to understand anyway. Plus, there's still a lot of societal
Why can't
shame
he be just like
around
a
gnoming.
mafia boss? His kids will understand.
Yeah, that's a whole different way to go. He's hooked on gnomes. He's hooked on the 600 pounds a day.
He's gnomed up.
There is, you're a gnome, Liam. I married a gnome. My sister married a doctor, and whilst he's out saving lives, my husband sits in some stranger's garden wearing a pointy hat with a fishing line.
Oh, it's a wheelbarrow. And he doesn't save
Honey,
lives.
your
He's a
gnome
podiatrist. He's not
husband
a real
is
doctor.
earning more than the doctor.
I'm lucky. I've got great clients like Neil, a good agent, but it can be a fickle industry. One week you're in a palatial garden overlooking a koi pond, watched by titans of industry. The next year, gnoming in a disused car park in Basildon for 20 quid a pop.
Ooh.
If you're not careful, you know, this business chews you up.
So they are freelancing gnomes.
Yeah. Gnome shaming.
Gnome shaming.
I've had students try to steal me, kids make fun of me. I've been stabbed. A friend of mine was kidnapped and held in a cramped shed with other gnomes for a week. I mean, we're not protected at all. The police don't care, they think we're a joke.
Oh wow, we're seeing the dark underbelly now. Gnome Rescue estimates there are thousands of gnomes hoarded in sheds across the UK.
This is why they are trying to free them.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're getting a good backstory here. That is another professional hazard, is being gnome napped. So be careful what you wish for if you want to try gnoming.
No way.
If I ever get the money, I'd be hiring gnomes and fairies to hang out. There is a way.
Just hang out in the grove.
You can hire them with milk, honey, and it doesn't have to be super expensive. You just gotta leave out some good stuff for them.
I do like the expensive cookies.
See? That's how I trapped this fairy.
Yep, with the Girl Scout cookies.
Come on out. It's okay. It's all right. You're safe now. Come on. That's it.
My advice to anyone thinking of becoming a gnome or living as one is get out now. It's too late for me. I'm stuck here now as a gnome. Forever.
Says Liam is one of the lucky ones who managed to leave gnoming behind him. Good cookies always works.
Scarecrow, man, I've
But
got quite
hey,
gnoming.
DB, you don't even have to have money to have gnomes and fairies around. You can just hang out in the grove.
And we'll give you banana nut muffins. That's easy.
Whoa.
Scarecrow.
That's like a high reward treat.
Yeah. This guy's doing scarecrowing.
In for good. You know, it doesn't pay as much, but we get by. You know, I don't feel so dirty when I get home. It's just nice to have my dignity back.
She's way happier.
I don't think so. There we go.
It was produced by Mother's Best Child. It was produced by your favorite child.
We got another news article.
I sent you the images, by the way.
Oh, all right.
They are not only just gnome pictures, but a lot of stuff that people replace the gnomes with after they get stolen.
So these are Romanian garden gnomes that we're about to view here?
Handmade ones.
Handmade. Okay, yeah, okay. I see the garden or the flower pot heads.
Mm-hmm.
And the usual baby clothing.
Why don't you zoom in?
Thank you. And these look like they're cans tied to them, or those are their legs and hands.
They are those little plastic pots that you get for like $1, $2 plants.
Oh, okay, okay. And they gave them hair and eyeballs, and they're growing flowers out of their crowns.
out of their brains. So what do you think? They're too DIY?
They are hard to tell that they're gnomes, but they do look like garden creatures. Now this does look kind of creepy because it's got this like clown person.
Mm-hmm. And we have the porcelain dogs.
Yeah. It's a clown gnome.
Yep.
And it looks like the garden itself is mostly manufactured.
What do you mean?
Like we got the flowers made out of plastic.
Yeah, yeah. Most gardens here are without grass.
And there's like a bunch of withered plants. I guess that's what happens when you use a clown instead of a gnome.
They're out of season. You know that gnome was a really, really popular toy during the communist period. Every kid had it. Every kid must have it because it was the only toy that you can buy.
A gnome?
Yeah. We had one too.
And it wasn't a clown, it was a gnome?
No, you can buy the clown and the gnome. Yeah, kids were playing with garden gnomes made out of rubber. And we had one that was like a gnome girl. And you were playing with it, your older siblings were playing with it, the dog was chewing on it, and it was still there.
Wow. Yeah, we're getting some neat insight here. Communist gnomes. Says what?
DB is just shocked. Yeah, I need to show you some of the communist toys at some point because there are not many.
We got some more. This one doesn't look like a gnome. It's like a gnome furry.
This is what is guarding the gnomes and paying them. This is their boss.
You got some scraggly gardens over here.
Yep.
But I like seeing the trees.
We do have a lot of those. Doesn't he look stoned? A bit.
Yeah, maybe just tired.
Yeah.
Very, very tired.
This is like the rough cousin of the, how is it called, Peter Rabbit.
Mm-hmm. Okay, here we go. Some real gnomes from Romania. Yeah, these look normal. And then we've got the gnome welcoming mat.
Mm-hmm. So by their painting and their look, they were from the communist period. These are like inherited.
So real antiques. Real haunted antiques.
I remember, we had a huge thing of decorating our homes with little porcelain figurines, and we had gnomes too. We had a few staples, not just gnomes, but I think you can still get them in antique stores, and people are trying to get rid of them. My grandma had a lot of them, and they all fell from her shelves during an earthquake.
Mm-hmm.
And just broke and everything, but she still has a few. But you can definitely get miniature gnomes at the antique store.
You know when we went to the antique/junk store here, the
Yeah.
huge one, did you see any garden gnomes?
No, I've seen garden gators.
Yeah, a lot of gators, flamingos, and Sasquatch.
Roosters. Yeah.
So I don't think garden gnomes are big here. I might have to change that. I definitely want to get some now.
I've seen the gargoyles.
Gargoyles,
I've
yeah.
seen the mermaid, and I've seen that Kermit-looking dog.
Kermit dog.
I can send you pictures.
Oh, I see you trying to start a fire here with the pumpkin butt thing. That's not a garden gnome.
No, it's a gnome behind it.
I don't see a gnome in that picture at all.
No, the deal is that this is what we do with pumpkins because they started going on sale around Halloween, but we don't really carve them because we have no notion of that such thing. So we do stuff with it, and this is what we do.
Alright, I'm gonna give you guys a pumpkin butt flash. I won't keep it up long. There we go. You got flashed. That's Wisteria's fire starting for the day.
I thought you would just grab all the links and not question my links. I swear, guys, I have to get all the content through the radar.
Alright. Back
DB
to...
says, I think up north they're a bit more naked. Or
probably up there in the US, they are more prevalent. In the South, I don't know why, but yeah, they aren't, didn't really catch on as much here in the South.
But that was not even flashing. It was a good, honest plumber butt crack.
A plumber's flash.
You taught me that, yeah. Because I didn't know what it was up until you told me.
Oh, we got a video attached to this news story. Let's see. Uh-oh, is this Gnome Liberation Front propaganda? This is an advertisement for IKEA though. Okay, okay.
IKEA has gnomes?
Let's see. Let me up the resolution. It's at 240. Oh, max 240p.
You know, this is like a gnome/cryptid video then.
Yep. Advertisement caught by potato can. What? This is Gnome SWAT coming.
Their headquarters are under ferns.
Okay, so I think the advertisement is just the stuff in the commercial, and the gnomes are not sold at IKEA. So it's just showing off all this garden furniture while being attacked by gnomes.
But if you were to design gnomes, would you design them like the old version boring gnomes, or would you put your twist on them?
I would definitely make my own twist, and maybe I do need to make my own gnome.
Do you want to make a gnome sticker pack for Redbubble?
Do some concept sketches? Sure.
Yeah.
Add it onto the list. They are gnoming for you.
I want to be a gremlin. Hey, Wismar.
Yeah.
I gnome you.
But yeah, I like to do sculptures. Maybe I'll do my own gnome sculpture.
Can you sculpt in cement?
You can't sculpt in cement, but you can make a mold and then make cement statue from the mold.
But that means that if you have one mold, you can keep making them.
It depends how your process. Sometimes the mold is destroyed in the process.
Oh, I see.
Whoa. I didn't know it was going to go this far, but their souls have been released. Yeah, Gnome Empire. What? She is shattering gnomes with a garden hose?
This is epic, way more epic than anything you see in cinema right now.
Yeah. That is like a pressure washing hose. Wait, now, why is there peace now? Oh, there's not.
No, this should have ended with to be continued.
Yeah. Yeah, so I see why angry television viewers complain about this IKEA advert featuring the slaughter of garden gnomes.
Have you seen that cartoon, Romeo and Juliet?
I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it.
A romance between gnomes.
All right, when was this article written? Gnome, sweet gnome, protecting against the threat of garden gnome theft is no small undertaking. Do we have a dead link? Yes, we do. So the garden gnome, browser died. Garden Gnome Liberation Front vanished from public eye in 1997? No. They were just getting started.
No.
Here we go. Garden Gnome Liberation Front strikes Paris show in 2000. There was a stealing 20 gnomes during a nighttime raid at a Paris exhibition. Is it an exhibition of gnomes?
Whoever would try to look further into this, like a detective, would be Sherlock Gnomes.
There you go. You're enjoying your gnome puns?
Yes.
All right, let's see if we can get a better idea of what the Gnome Liberation Front is about. Other groups themselves, cells of the Gnome Liberation Front, were operated as independent movements such as the Red Gnome Army. Free the Gnomes and Movimento Malag in Italian. These are just a few examples of the groups that began spreading across Europe, many of them setting up websites so they could link and communicate. I want to read one of the manifestos.
I sent you another article to review.
Okay. Dark website offers to fill someone's house with poo-filled garden gnomes? Thunder Keck, what a name, was left speechless after finding a 420-pound service on the dark web that offered to plague someone's house with garden gnomes filled with animal poo to attract pests. Right.
Pests are attracted by that? Like, pests like aphids?
No, more like roaches, flies. Let's see what this video is.
On the other end of the chain down in London, 2 university students are online and about to do a bit of shopping.
14 grams of brandy. For only 15 quid, can't be that good.
They're shopping for cocaine and other drugs on the dark web, a hidden part of the internet accessible only through a special browser.
This better be about garden gnomes.
Here they can browse anonymously and securely, and buy exactly what they're looking for.
So we go onto the website, and it's just like ordering off any old online site, and then you can just search whatever you want. So, cocaine. And these are all the vendors. There's 56 pages, just for coke.
I don't think so either.
That was random in there. You're welcome.
This is what happens whenever you step into the dark web. You get unexpected surprises. So Thunder Keck also has a TikTok. Site called Get Gnomed offers to fill the inside and outside of someone's home with garden ornaments, which are sometimes filled with poo, for $500 or 420 pounds. That's an expensive prank.
Is it expensive for landscaping too?
Yeah. You could get like a very rare plant for $500.
Yeah, but it would be one plant sitting in the middle of your garden.
What? Also, they offer something called gnome haunting, which is apparently when the people remove a gnome, it will be replaced with 2. Wow, that's a good one. That's better than gnome liberation. Just stealing things, you're giving them more and more.
It's like aphid infestation, but with gnomes.
Yes. The gnome pranks are evolving, getting better and better. And we have some more garden gnome information about the gnome liberation front. Let me get this here.
Today we're going to talk about the Garden Gnome Liberation Front. This society practices freeing garden gnomes from the shackles of captivity and taking them on adventures. Part of the fun is sending photos of the garden gnome in fun places like in front of Big Ben or on a mountain somewhere. Sometimes people include a letter about the adventures the gnome has gone on. The joke started in Australia in 1986 when
So this pushes it back even further. I didn't know this was going all the way back to 1986. DB says he loved the traveling one. Oh, they were ordering rare gnomes for $500.
A woman was distressed to discover her garden gnome missing from her front garden with a note that said, "Dear Mum, couldn't stand the solitude any longer. Gone off to see the world. Don't be worried. I'll be back soon."
Putting words into the gnome's mouth.
Love Bilbo. Another famous liberated gnome happened when some college students took a gnome they dubbed Gnome Severson from Redmond in Washington all around the states on a road trip. The group came across Paris Hilton at a gas station, and the subsequent photo ended up in...
The story even includes Paris Hilton.
People magazine. The gnome was returned
I
with an
bet you
envelope.
appreciate it.
Yeah, so this is another media story that set the phenomenon ablaze across the world. This was, she's saying here, in People magazine, which was widely read in the States, even appearing in doctors' offices, schools, libraries. People magazine was everywhere.
Envelope of photos labelled Gnome Spring Break 2005. The owner hadn't even noticed they were gone. Maybe follow me? Today we're going to...
There we go. Yeah, a little bit more background. And our final piece of Gnome content.
It's not final, I sent you something else.
Oh, you staved it off. Okay. Ah. Alright, so guys got a gnome. Where are we?
A drive-through.
Yeah, okay, drive through. I see the menu up there. And he leaves a gnome at the drive through. In the drive through window. This is a McDonald's, and she sees the garden gnome, picks it up, puts it down, hands him his food.
Hamburger? Yep.
Picks up the gnome again, looking at it.
Sweet. If we get
There's something inside of it.
a sweet and sour sauce.
Sorry?
Sweet and sour sauce.
Oh, I think he put his card underneath it.
We have a Michael, a man pie man game.
Welcome, Michael.
Hello, hi.
We're talking garden gnomes. Hey, do you have any garden gnomes, Michael? Have you ever had to deal with gnome napping? What, is that another one?
Mm-hmm.
He just put up another one in the window.
Yep.
There you go.
Thank you.
You can see the confusion on her face. There's two up there now. A third! And he's off.
Isn't it amazing?
Yeah, so much gnome fun. Okay.
Would it be like a prank if I filled your entire forest with gnomes?
No, they would be very welcome.
Mark those words, people.
And that's what a lot of the French were doing in the beginning, was relocating gnomes from people's gardens to forests, sort of freeing them out in the wild. And there was a tagline of, oh dang it, I just lost it. There, let me see it. I have it saved here somewhere. Oh, it's opening up Photoshop. Dang it. All right, while I wait for Photoshop to load up, I will play a video.
So slowly, time goes by. So slowly, time goes by. So slowly, 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 so slowly.
Did you get a copyright strike?
It's very short. And the tagline is, "You cannot tame what is wild." That's the Gnome
This
Liberation
should
Front.
be my intro.
There we go. So,
Michael says, not yet, but we looked at some.
yeah, we need to repopulate the gnomes.
Get them with warranty, because I think people tend to steal them.
If you're lucky, you'll get the prankster that gives you new ones and multiplies them when you move
He's
it
like
away.
Jesus, but with gnomes.
Yeah, with the fish.
Mm-hmm.
All right, any other closing thoughts for the day?
That I need to look up some place that sells hundreds of gnomes, because I'm filling up your forest until the next stream.
Cool, and I'm going to do some concept sketches of gnomes. Cool gnomes, not communist gnomes or clowns.
You're gonna have all the communist gnomes come for you. That would be next on Strange News.
Yeah, yeah. All right, well, that was a fun one. It was a fun garden gnome exploration. And thanks for joining us, guys. Appreciate all the input and the fun we had together.
Gnome bye.
All right. That was a good ending. Thank you.